If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Once Saddam has nuclear weapons, the terror network will have nuclear weapons. Next thing you'll see is a nuclear bomb in the World Trade Center. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to Syriana Analysis. I'm your host, Kevork Almassian. Today is an emergency situation in the Middle East, West Asia. As you may already know, the US and Israel waged joint aggression against Iran. This is not a preemptive war, as the mainstream media has claimed, and also the officials of the Epstein class claimed. This is a war of aggression against a sovereign country, unprovoked, unlike what the EU officials have claimed today, that Iran has either provoked or it has attacked its neighboring countries. We're going to discuss everything today, guys, in this stream. There is no limit for this stream. I'm going to cover many things, geopolitics, and we're also going to cover some of the incidences and videos that have surfaced on social media platforms to understand what is going on inside Israel, in the Gulf countries, in Emirates, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, for example, and also the strikes against Iran itself and the allegations that Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, and also the rumors that Ali Khamenei has been assassinated, although up until this moment, it is 8 p.m. in Central European time. There is no confirmation. This is all rumors, and there are many reports coming from Iran, including the foreign minister of Iran himself, Abbas Araghchi, saying that this is untrue, and as far as he knows, that the president of Iran and Ali Khamenei are alive. Not that it will make big difference if they assassinate the president of Iran anyways. This is the weakest president in the history of Iran, and I think that the Iranians agree with me. In any ways, today's stream is going to be probably long. However, I'm going to cover many things. At the beginning of this stream, I would like to explain my position, how we arrived here, and why Iran is coming under joint US-Israeli attacks, aggressions for multiple times now, since this in the past 2 years, especially after October 7, why Iran is targeted and how this has become possible. Because in my opinion, a few years ago, this was not possible to carry joint strikes in this magnitude against Iran. But nowadays, Iran has made, in my opinion, several miscalculations, which I have explained several times on this channel, Syriana Analysis. And the other day, I was walking to my gym, and the guy was coming downstairs in the gym, and apparently he watches Syriana Analysis. So if he's watching, I hope that he follows this stream, and I would like to explain more why I think Iran has made miscalculations, and this guy is a fan, but he told me that I'm being harsh on Iran. Now, I'm not being harsh on Iran. I'm just being very honest and realistic, because I don't want to sell you illusions on this channel. And I have told you several times, Iran is making mistakes. If they don't want to come under attack and continue having their sovereignty, enjoy their sovereignty, they shouldn't do these miscalculations. However, it happened. Anyways, we're not here to play blame games now, but I will try to explain to you why I think Israelis have planned this for a very long time and how they have planned this. In any ways, for everybody knows, guys, after 9/11, the famous Wesley Clark, 7 countries in 5 years. This was 7 countries in 25 years. In the discourse of these conflicts, millions of people perished and more millions have become refugees all around the world. Now, many people argue that this was probably, or the official narrative about 9/11 is not the true story that they were trying to sell to the people, because they were trying to sell the war narrative to the people and the urgency of this war narrative, and that we must go after Afghanistan, Iraq, and afterwards they have moved their guns to Syria, to Lebanon, to in other places such as Libya. Those countries had nothing to do with 9/11. So why have they done that? There is a very famous book, by the way, guys, for Professor John Mearsheimer. He co-authored it, The Israel Lobby and the U.S. Foreign Policy. They make a brilliant case about the Iraq war, and this was a war for Israel. And now this war, if you don't want to watch the entire stream, the next 1.5 hours or something, then I would tell you this is a war for Israel in Iran. This is not America's war. This is not the war of Europe. This is not the war of the vassal states of the United States in the region, but rather this is Israel's war against Iran. And these countries assisting, the countries in the region assisting the Americans and the Israelis to carry on this type of attacks are either coming from extreme naivete, or they are installed there to enable the Greater Israel Project. This is just beyond me, especially after what Mike Huckabee told Tucker Carlson just a few days ago, blatantly, openly to everyone, that he doesn't mind, as the ambassador of the United States to Israel, that the latter would occupy large swaths of territories extending from the Nile to the Euphrates, the Greater Israel Project, which includes parts of Egypt, entire Lebanon, entire Palestine, 2/3 of Syria, entire Jordan, and 1/3 of Saudi Arabia, reaching all the way to Mecca. And he said that would be fine with him, right? So if you, Israel, nowadays knock out Iran, I'm just hypothetically speaking, then there is no longer any resistance left against the Israeli expansionist policies in the region and any resistance to the Greater Israel Project. So we are here not trying to sensationalize the situation. We're trying to understand why Israel is doing what it's doing, because they're following their own agenda here. And according to many analysts, this is the birth of the Pax Judaica empire, which is now led by Israel itself, by trying to take over the decision-making in the United States, especially when it comes to its foreign policy, and also the decision to go to war and try to use the US military to establish its own empire, allegedly called Pax Judaica. Now, I extended an invitation, by the way, for Professor Chiang today, and if he's able to come to the show, that would be perfect. We could also discuss this in details. Now, after 9/11, Afghanistan happened, and this is just borders with Iran. Of course, Iran was alarmed by the presence of the American forces right on its border on the eastern side. And the Americans were saying, look, we are going to occupy or destroy 7 countries in 5 years. And on top of the list is Iran. So Iran was terrified from this situation. It has accelerated its arm race, let's say, and expenditure and spending on its military to protect itself from an enemy force on its eastern border. 2 years later, the United States occupies illegally Iraq on the western border of Iran, and the Iranians are taking notes that they're coming after them when they finish with Iraq. The same thing goes, of course, with Syria. Therefore, these 2 countries, Iran and Syria, they have supported the resistance groups inside Iraq, including, by the way, opposing sides. Syria and Iran were not on the same side in Iraq. For example, Iran supported Nur al-Maliki and his people, and Syria was opposed to Nur al-Maliki, for example. And many, many times, Nur al-Maliki criticized Syria for supporting the opposing sides of Nur al-Maliki, if you remember that time, right? And during this time, Iranians have used this occupation of Iraq, basically. They found that Americans have created a vacuum inside Iraq, and they went inside Iraq and invested in different political and military groups, including some of the non-state actors, in order to keep the Americans busy inside Iraq, so that the conflict would continue and there would be more resistance against the American occupation forces there. Because if the Americans are done with Iraq, then they will shift and move their guns to either Iran or to Syria, right? So Iraq has lived a brutal civil war between 2005 and 2008, sectarian war between the Shias and the Sunnis, and then this led to the emergence of ISIS, which committed heinous let's say, massacres against Iraq's minorities, including Christians, Shias, Yazidis, etc. And this has reflected later on Syria itself, because the insurgency which started in 2011, the driving force behind the insurgency in 2011 and 2012, we're talking about 14, 15 years ago, was the Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And Al-Qaeda in Iraq has moved its ranks and its elements to Syria to go after Assad. Now, of course, the Iranians, in my opinion, geopolitically speaking, and we're not here to support this side or that side, but if you are in the Iranian shoes, you should do the right thing. And the right thing was to invest in Syria, try to keep the Syrian state intact. However, Iranians have also gone into something called, oh, we have a reformist government, or we have a principalist government. And when it's a principalist government, they would increase the support of Syria to fight against this US-led insurgency. And then when it's the so-called reformists, then they decrease their support for Syria. And they even cut the fuel on Syria, as I mentioned several times on this channel, 3 months, in order to pressure the former president of Syria, Assad, to shake hands with Erdogan. This is the same Erdogan who is now assisting the US aggression against Iran itself. And when, for example, in 2016, when there was an attempt to coup Erdogan, Iranians and the Russians came to assist and save Erdogan, right? So this is one of the mistakes, in my opinion, including the fact that inside the Syrian territory, the Iranians try to minimize the support at some times, because the reformists came and they say, we want to deal with America, and we don't want to be, we don't want to have, let's say, hostile relationship with the United States, including JCPOA in 2015. And during this time, Syria has not received enough support to continue its fight against these terrorist groups, for example, right? In any ways, guys, this time that I'm trying to explain several events which happened between 2001 and 2000 let's say 24, those were very detrimental in the preparation for the war against Iran. One of these events, for example, was the war in 2006 against Lebanon. Now, once the plan was that they thought in Israel that they could come after Hezbollah and they would try to decimate it. And this is one of the actors, of course, in the axis, what used to be called the axis of resistance. Of course, they failed, but there is a theory that the Israelis have benefited and studied this war, and they have they studied all the failures, and they took the correct lessons to understand how Hezbollah operates. And in the mind of the Israeli planners, Hezbollah exists basically under the ground, right? Their stockpiles is under the ground, the tunnels are under the ground, there is a city under the city. So there is something called secrecy in how Hezbollah operates. But if you wage a war against Hezbollah, a limited war against Hezbollah, and try to take them out of the tunnels so that there would be face-to-face conflict and war, you study their, let's say, operation patterns. You study how Hezbollah is fighting, where are they coming from, where are they stationing, and where the missiles and rockets and all this stuff are coming. So they studied this war and then prepared something called the Vinegrad report in 2007 or 2008, and they said we made failures, we made mistakes, and those are the lessons that we have learned from this war. Now, the Hezbollah side, if you know anything, by the way, about Lebanon, the people who support Hezbollah, the TV outlets, the newspapers, the so-called think tanks, which never exist, by the way, those are just one single apartment room. The guy and the wife are working in a think tank. There is no serious think tank in Lebanon, but those think tanks apparently support Hezbollah, and they were preparing papers after papers saying that we have a strategic superiority over Israel. We have knocked out Israel. We have defeated them, and they don't dare to attack us again, etc., etc., etc. Israel was able in 2006 to bomb the same way they have bombed Lebanon into ashes, just like they did in Gaza, but in 2006. But that was not the plan. The plan was to take out Hezbollah from its tunnels so they could study how they are fighting, so they could fight them again in the near future more efficiently. Now, in 2011, when the war started in Syria, the insurgency, and Assad needed support from Hezbollah, this was a golden opportunity again for Israel to study Hezbollah even further. And by sending thousands and thousands of fighters from Lebanon, it reached between 5,000 to 20,000 sometimes inside Syria. They were exposed in open air, the places they were fighting, the uniforms they were wearing, the communications that they had. Many things happened in Syria, including the spying on their smartphones. Syria was not a place where you can continue having secrecy. And they have spied on everyone. They have registered the voice notes through WhatsApp, Telegram, and all these apps that they were using. And they have assassinated later in 2024 many of the leadership of Hezbollah, including in the military wing, by their voice fingerprint. They knew their voice, then they killed them through their voices, right? In 2021, 2022, another incredible mistake, that they imposed so-called vaccine passports and these applications that everybody has to install in Lebanon for you to access what? Groceries, airport, supermarket, hospitals, and wherever you go in public sector, you need to have this app. And I'm very highly confident, and this is just my conspiracy theory, that those apps were compromised and they have scanned all the data of the Lebanese people, including the so-called the popular base of Hezbollah. And by doing so, they have completely scanned the names of the families of the Hezbollah leadership. And by doing so, they have learned their locations in the southern suburbs of Lebanon. They have learned their movements everywhere, and sometimes because they knew who is their wives, who is their daughters, who is their sons, they have completely destroyed entire buildings in southern Lebanon by only detecting one of the family members of these senior Hezbollah officers. So all these things happened in the past, that the Hezbollah and the Iranian enemies, they were testing them, and they were understanding the pattern of the movement and the way they're fighting, their ideology, their communication, especially the communication system. I think those things are very, very crucial. Now, October 7 happened. The Hezbollah and Iran had nothing to do with October 7. They didn't even know about it. And I have said many times on this channel, if you support the axis of resistance, and you support Hezbollah, you support Iran, and you support Syria, and you support Hamas, the timing was a strategic mistake. It's a huge mistake, the least to say, because now Iran is involved in the Syrian war, and they know that they're fighting Syria, because by breaking Syria, they break the axis of resistance, and if you break the axis of resistance, Palestine is gone. So Iran is involved in Syria. Hezbollah is involved in Syria, because they know once Damascus is occupied by these NATO-led insurgents, so-called insurgents, those Al-Qaeda elements, they know that Syria will move from the axis of resistance into the pro-American side, which happened nowadays, right? So after October 7, Hezbollah intervened to support its Palestinian brothers and sisters, and morally, this is for them, this is the right thing to do, of course. But because Hezbollah was overstretched in Syria, they had lots of fighters inside Syria. They had to withdraw now their soldiers and send them to southern Lebanon to fight against the Israeli occupation forces, meanwhile leaving the scene of Syria completely exposed on different strategic locations in Aleppo, in Homs, and also in Damascus. And what happened is, the moment Hezbollah fighters withdrew from Syria, Erdogan and Netanyahu reactivated the regime change in Syria, and they have knocked out Assad, and they broke the axis of resistance. They isolated Hezbollah, and they decimated Gaza, and they imposed the deal on the Palestinians in Gaza, and they put the signature of these so-called Arab monarchies, including Egypt, including Jordan, including many other governments in the region who pretended to be supporting the Palestinians. And they formed something called the Peace Board, which is absolutely ridiculous. It has nothing to do with peace. They're building peace over the dead bodies of tens of thousands of kids. Who can believe this? This is completely, in my opinion, guys, what happened is so scandalous that I'm trying to explain in the past at least 2 years that there has been big strategic miscalculations, including October 7, the timing of the October 7, which forced Hezbollah to withdraw from Syria to Lebanon. And then once you lost Syria, you lost also your own strategic depth and your own connectivity with Iran as Hezbollah. And now Palestinians are also isolated in the Gaza Strip. So what happened is basically a complete strategic disaster in the region. Despite, guys, I don't want to name names, but believe me, many people are talking because they believe in the axis of resistance, but they're coming from the wishful thinking ground, in my opinion, and they believe that everything that happened in the region in the past 2 years has helped the Palestinians. Do you really think everything happened in the past 2-3 years helped the Palestinians or completely destroyed the Palestinian people in the region? And I'm not blaming the Palestinians. I'm just saying that the timing was so horrible that this has led into all these developments in the region, including the complete decapitation of the Hezbollah leadership, which in my opinion is irreplaceable. Do you guys see now anybody in Hezbollah was able to fill the shoes of Hassan Nasrallah? Has any of you watched the speeches of Nasrallah, his strategic thinking, his philosophy? This guy was a genius in a personal level. He was a military leader. He was a spiritual leader, and he was a father figure for many people in the region, not only the Lebanese, right? And now that you watch the new Secretary General of Hezbollah, Sheikh Naim Qassem, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, be a dick to him. Sorry for the terminologies, but this guy cannot replace Hassan Nasrallah in any way or shape. He's not par with him, neither militarily, nor spiritually, nor in his character. He can't even fake the personality of Hassan Nasrallah. He is a weak persona. Sorry. The same thing goes to the president of Iran, Pezeshkian. Who's this guy? The moment I watch him on TV, excuse me, this guy, in my opinion, his character is weak. His arguments are even weaker. I listen to him. He doesn't convince me at all. And I don't know how the people of Iran voted for him, especially after what I believe. This is again another conspiracy theory. I don't believe there was a helicopter accident which killed the president of Iran and his foreign minister, who were from the principalist, let's say, camp. And now we have to organize a new elections, and then Pezeshkian comes to power during a very important, vital, strategic moment when Iran needs a strong leader. Make it make sense. And during this time, I truly believe that he was assassinated. Call me conspiracy theorist. I think he was assassinated, and the Iranians covered it up. And they didn't say he was assassinated. He said it was an accident, because if he's assassinated, then they have to wage a war against who assassinated him, except for the Americans and the Israelis, who any of the players capable of doing something like this, right? So all these things which happened in the region, when the assassinations happened in Hezbollah, everybody was expecting Iran to act and react in a harsh way, because Hezbollah has been the most important ally of Iran and the strongest deterrent player in the front line against Iran. And once Nasrallah was assassinated, a few weeks later, they knocked out Assad from Syria. Meanwhile, Iran accepted these terms and surrendered and withdrew from Syria. And once it withdrew from Syria, we all said here, also if you follow Syriana Analysis, next is Iran. Next is Iran. They lost Syria. They lost also their major ally inside Lebanon. So their frontline deterrent capacity is gone. And once you lose your frontline deterrence capacity, then the next thing you see that your enemy is moving on the chessboard and coming inside your territories. And there are patterns in the region, guys, that we learned from the past few decades, one of which is in 2005, when the assassination of the prime minister of Lebanon happened, Rafiq al-Hariri, and this was a huge earthquake, political earthquake in the region, which the imperialist powers, they have blamed all Syria, and they said, you assassinated the prime minister of Lebanon, Rafiq al-Hariri, and now we will try to kick you out of Lebanon. And they managed to kick the Syrian forces from Lebanon in 2005 and 2006. And remember that one of the reasons why Syrian forces existed inside and stationed inside Lebanon, because they considered it a buffer zone between them and Israel. So this was their frontline deterrence capacity, including the air defense systems, which was stationed inside Lebanon to protect the skies of Syria, including the capital of Syria. Because strategically speaking, if you understand the maps, if you put the map in front of you, if the Israelis occupy Lebanon, then Damascus will be like, they could just roll into Damascus. And the roads will be open for them. So Syrian forces existed and stationed in Lebanon partly because they wanted to protect Syria from an Israeli attack. And once they withdrew from Lebanon in 2005, 5 years later, the war has moved inside the Syrian territories. And the same thing now, that once Iran withdrew from these frontline positions, then the war will move inside Iran, because the enemy, your enemy, is telling you, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you. You have to listen to your enemy, and you shouldn't underestimate your enemy. So this is just, all in all, I wanted to give a little bit of context why this is happening now inside Iran. Meanwhile, this was completely audible. Iran, there were a few things that they have done. Maybe those was personal errors, mistakes, miscalculations. Everybody can do these things, right? And it's not like we want to blame Iran or we want to blame Russia. This is not a blame game. All countries do mistakes. All officials make miscalculations, and we have to tell the truth when people make miscalculations. That's it. I just need to drink. I think in the past 30 minutes, I was just ranting. I need the water. So now Donald Trump posts this video. I want to show you the video of Donald Trump, and we will try to discuss his allegations. Before showing you this, I will show you this one first. I wanted to show you this first. And look at this photo, guys. This is one of the latest funerals of Syrian army soldiers just before the regime change happened, right? The Epstein class fought 14 years, right? For 14 years against Syria and the Syrian Arab army to make the war against Iran possible. All these soldiers also died in Syria because they wanted to destroy one of the most important players in the axis of resistance. And when we said that just a year ago, many people said, no, you're exaggerating. Syria is not that important. Now you see the result of losing Syria, including, by the way, many people will regret big time when Israel establishes its occupation and control over the entirety of Palestine. Without Syria, guys, like, it's not complicated. You put the map, you look into the map, who are the bordering countries of Palestine? If Jordan is pro-Israel, if Egypt has made the peace with Israel, if half the Lebanese people or the Lebanese government is with United States and Saudi Arabia and secretly with Israel, if you weaken Hezbollah in the south, if you knock out Syria, then which of these neighboring countries of Palestine could give tangible support to the Palestinians? Can the Iranians drop them from a helicopter? No. There has to be some borders, right? There has to be supply chains, and those are gone. And therefore, it is mind-boggling for me to see any Palestinian celebrating the regime change in Syria, including the installment of the NATO's basically asset, Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, as so-called president of Syria, including the people in Gaza. Excuse me, there are people in Gaza celebrating this, and this is beyond me, and I don't understand the logic behind it, except the fact that they are either completely brainwashed by Al Jazeera or they are sectarians. You cannot really give more justifications and excuses any longer. I think everything is so open nowadays that anyone who pretends that they don't know, it's just, I can't give them any justifications and excuses any longer, because the data exists. Everybody is on X, everybody is on social media platforms, and many people have been warning. And nowadays you have patterns. You can see what happened after Syria is gone, right? So anyways, let's go back to Israel's bitch, Donald J. Trump.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by
The objective is to defend the American people. Like, can you really believe that? Like, how can he say something like this? How can the president of the United States said he's protecting the American people? Is Iran posing a threat against the American people 13,000 kilometers away from the American borders?
eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people.
They're very terrible people, guys, there. So let's first paint them as threat, and then they are evil, terrible people.
Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world.
Why are your bases stationed all around the world? 800 bases all around the world, including in the region. So it looks like more that it is the United States intimidating Iran in this case, right? They are stationing their bases all around Iran, or probably we have to believe in that meme which says, look at Iran, how closely they station their country to our military bases in the region. It's just incredible.
For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and...
So the Iranians chanted death to America for 47 years because the United States have overthrown their democratically elected government who wanted to nationalize the Iranian oil, and they put a dictator, a monarch, basically the Shah, which completely killed the democracy in Iran, imprisoned all the dissidents inside Iran, and he has killed all the political life and the media freedoms and the social freedoms, and he has established a one-man rule inside Iran, including taking the national resources of Iran. That's why the people were angry at the United States. Not that they wake up in the morning and they're like, okay, what are we going to do today? Let's hate on the United States. Why don't they hate Russia? Why don't they hate China? Why don't they hate India? Why don't they say death to Germany or death to France or death to Denmark or Sweden or any other country? Why is it they are saying death to America? Not that we are endorsing it, but it's just an emotional, let's say, sensational thing to say because they're angry at the United States for hijacking their democracy in the 1953, which led to the Islamic Revolution in 1979. And afterwards, they have been sanctioning them. They've been trying to destabilize their country and take over their natural resources over and over again. What do you want them to say? Thank you, Daddy America? I mean, those Pahlavis could say it because they are basically masochists. They like to be bombed by the United States. They like to be beaten up by the Israelis, even if their families are being killed inside Iran. They don't care. They're living outside of Iran anyways, right? So context is everything. And I think we have reached to a point where these American officials and other Western officials, they can just spew all types of lies and manipulations to the people without any context for them, because they know that their people are the most propagandized people on earth. And I'm very sorry, guys. I know most of you are Americans watching this, but you know that I'm telling you the truth. Most of your countrymen are so brainwashed that they have no clue what is going on around the world, let alone in the Middle East or in Iran. They're watching Fox News. Today I was watching Fox News. It's horrendous. I'm going to show you some reports today on Fox News. It's just mind-boggling. The level of propaganda is so amateurish that probably if I had a 7-year-old son or daughter, he or she would really detect that this is a propaganda. But nowadays we have President of the United States talking in the lowest IQ level to his people because he knows that his people are the most propagandized people on earth. Let's continue.
Mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed...
In Beirut, they were stationed illegally in Beirut, and they were killed, meanwhile occupying some other people's territories. But he says those are proxies of Iran. We don't really know if they were proxies of Iran.
Killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued
which the Americans occupied illegally in Iraq. Thank you very much.
to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th.
It was not Iran's proxy, by the way. Hamas was funded and financed by Qatar, the ally of the United States, just for you to know.
Attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our
Israelis killed over 80,000 civilians in Gaza. Thank you very much.
Citizens hostage. It was brutal. Something like the world has never seen before.
Never seen before, yes.
Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
The US is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, by the way, including supporting Al-Qaeda and bringing it in power in Damascus only recently, and then shaking hands with the leader of Al-Qaeda and putting perfume on him. You, Donald J. Trump.
And just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street.
Tens of thousands of its own civilians Iranian government has killed. This is completely bollocks. This is complete fake news.
As they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program.
So they obliterated the nuclear program, allegedly, and then a few weeks later, they have once again, few weeks away from building a nuke. If you believe this, we really have lots of bridges to sell you.
Bordeaux, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil.
Anyways, I think this is enough. Well, the problem is with these nuclear talks that they were going too well for the Iranians and for the Americans, and the Iranians were showing lots of flexibility, and not that I support that, not that Iranian people support, not that that is correct thing to do, because once you open the box of concessions, it's going to lead into one after another, and they will start with inches, and they will take over entire Iranian sovereignty once you start giving them concessions, and I mean with these so-called reformists in Iran. In any ways, the Americans came only this week with a very, I would say, impossible demands from the Iranians. They said, you have to first destroy all the 3 nuclear sites in Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. You have to deliver all your enriched uranium to the United States. And 3, you have to give no sunset clauses. And 4, there is zero enrichment of uranium, but can keep Tehran reactor. And 5, minimal sanctions relief upfront, more if Tehran complies. Those are, in my opinion, impossible demands that the Iranians were not going to give them that, right? And this will first start getting all the concessions you need from the nuclear program, and then you come after the ballistic missile program. In any ways, it was reported by the, Omani foreign minister that even despite all these, let's say, demands from the American side, the Iran agreed basically during these indirect talks, according to the Omani foreign minister, who was the mediator, by the way, like during these indirect talks, Iran agreed with the United States never to stockpile enriched uranium and this was described by the Omani foreign minister as a major breakthrough. And this is only yesterday, only yesterday. Oman's foreign minister Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi also said on Friday that he believed all issues in a deal between Iran and the US could be resolved amicably and comprehensively within a few months. Oman's top diplomat also said Iran would degrade its current stockpiles of nuclear material to the lowest level possible so that it is converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible. This is something completely new. It really makes the enrichment argument less relevant because now we are talking about zero stockpiling, the foreign minister of Oman said. Now, regarding recent US demands, when it comes to Iran's missile program, al-Busaidi said, I believe Iran is open to discuss everything. So the talks were going so well, let's say. Iran is showing so much flexibility. And of course, Israel was upset because their goal is not to behavior change in Iran. It is a regime change in Iran. It is a regime change in Iran, and it's a destruction of Iran and balkanization of Iran. This is what Israel wants. Now, the foreign minister of Oman went on Twitter saying that I am dismayed. Active and serious negotiations have yet again been undermined. Neither the interests of the United States nor the cause of global peace are well served by this, and I pray for the innocents who will suffer. I urge the United States not to get sucked in further. This is not your war. Like literally the foreign minister of Oman, the mediator, saying, this is not your war, this is Israel's war, without naming them. So who do you want me to have on the show, guys? Can you please again, Galloway, or I don't know, some people were mentioning some names, I couldn't see it. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes I just feel like I don't want to have guests, I want to speak because I'm the how to say, the analyst, and I think in this Iran case, Syria case, I could Professor Chiang, I already invited him, by the way, guys. So I sent him a message today. He didn't see it yet, and once he sees it, he responds. Let's see. Loki is also a great guest. I have his contact, right? So now I will show you some of the, how to say, crazy level of propaganda just to manufacture consent, right? So look at this propaganda, guys, on Fox News, right? This guy is the TV host of Fox News, Sean Hannity, well knowing that he's doing propaganda, right? This guy is just manufacturing consent. This guy is complete propagandist. He's a TV host on Fox News. He just posted some horse shit here saying hidden camera captures alleged Iran-linked terrorists plotting to assassinate Trump. So this comes only one day before attacking Iran, because apparently the people who feed these media outlets information, they wanted them to publish this because they wanted for their people to accept and swallow the upcoming attack against Iran. So they make up crazy allegations. Look, even the article is so crazy that they say an alleged Iran-backed operative accused of plotting to assassinate President Trump when he was the GOP frontrunner during the 2024 election was caught on hidden camera describing his plan using a vape pen to symbolize the intended target. Newly released video evidence shows, the New York Post reports. So this guy, apparently, he had a vape and there was some gun in it. I don't know, like they're making crazy stuff against Iran that Iran doesn't have. Guys, you have to understand, Iran's priority is the region. Iran is a regional country. Whatever happens in the region concerns them. Whatever happening inside the United States is far-fetched from them. It's really far away, and they don't care what is happening inside the United States. And also, they know that whoever comes as a president of the United States, he is not the final decision maker. We need to understand that whoever comes in the White House, there is layer after layer after layer above him. The Epstein documents and emails clearly show that there are hierarchies, unelected bodies, rich families, dynasties, billionaire tech billionaires, people who work in AI, people who have trillions of dollars. These people are unelected bodies who are above the White House, and they're the ones who are funneling money into these electoral campaigns to bring all these puppets into power inside the United States. Everyone, almost everyone in this political climate in the United States are either they care about their careers and their good, basically paid jobs, so they do what is right to keep their jobs, or they're simply compromised. And the president of the United States is allegedly also compromised by the Mossad through the Epstein Island. And this is an assessment that we have seen through the documents of the FBI, that the president of the United States, there is a highly likely he's compromised by the Israelis. So they can basically press the president of the United States to go to war now against Iran. And this could also indicate that this managed drop of the Epstein emails was deliberate in order to persuade and put pressure on Donald Trump to go to war against Iran. So if these 3 million documents, which 3/4 of them was blanked and we don't know who were the perpetrators, has already caused enough earthquake in the political class inside the United States, then imagine if they show and unredact all the names who were on the Epstein Island, who were part of this heinous crime ring, right? And then we have another 3 million documents, which they probably will never release, or they would threaten the president of the United States with releasing them unless he goes to war with Iran. This is a very, very plausible scenario, by the way. Before moving to the next part of today's conversation, I just want to give some shout outs and thank yous for Carol. May Iran be successful in defending itself. Thank you so much for the generous support. Our friend says, Habibi Kevork, I'm Lebanese and I understand everything you're saying. It's true, everything you said. Sayed was a father figure for us. I grew up watching him since I was a wee lad. Allah yahmina kalna. Allah yahmik, Habibi. Mahdi says, why do you think Arab civilian world in the Middle East is seemingly immobile, perhaps even impotent when their own countries are burning? It is not like the request for no U.S. presence in the region is irrational, and would they not agree? Well, that's a very good question. Actually, I believe that, especially in the Gulf countries, those rich countries, first of all, there is no political life there. There are no elections. The opinion of the citizen doesn't matter. If there is one king, one ruler, there is no constitution basically in these countries, and those are so rich that the people eventually they have, I don't want to say lavish lifestyle, but they have good lives. They have better lives from compared to the Americans inside the United States. They have these American SUVs and their small villas, and they're just created a consumerist, let's say, a culture in these countries that these people are rich enough. You flood them with cars, you flood them with smartphones, you flood them with watches, you flood them with different types of technologies, to the extent like everybody knows this. If you live in Dubai, for example, including friends I have, right? They're Syrians, they live in Damascus or they live in Aleppo and then they move to Dubai, and not everybody, but it is somehow a pattern. You see that people change once they move to Dubai or once they move to the UAE. They start caring a lot about materialist things, because that's the dominant climate in the country. Like, people judge and value each other based on what you're wearing, what type of watch you're wearing, and what type of car you're driving. So you create a consumerist, basically, culture that the people are so busy with their daily life purchases and how they can upgrade their status in the society. Then, to the extent that they don't see what is happening under the table with all these alliances, which goes against their own interests. And this is something, guys, that is so crazy that I cannot really comprehend. And thank you for asking this question. Mike Huckabee says that Greater Israel Project reaches to Saudi Arabia. Like, if Iran falls, Now, Saudi Arabia is assisting the Americans. Bahrain is assisting the Americans. The UAE is assisting the Americans. Jordan is assisting Americans. Like, if Iran falls, only from the most, let's say, opportunistic point of view, right? Only if you only care about your country. If Iran is gone, what stops Israel from expanding into Syria and Jordan and Saudi Arabia? Give me one player in the region that could stop Israel from moving into Saudi Arabia. Just one. Like Gaddafi in 1988, there is a famous speech of him basically telling the Arab rulers that they're coming after you. First, they will finish on the Palestine issue. He literally says this. And then they will focus on Lebanon and on Syria, and then they're coming after you. This was Gaddafi in 1988, 4 decades ago. 4 decades ago, apparently. Everybody knew what is the Greater Israel Project back in the day. Now they're talking about it more openly because after the Gaza onslaught, Israelis now, they are taking over not only Gaza, but also the West Bank. All these attacks, settler attacks, are organized attacks against the Palestinians, uprooting them from their land, trying to terrorize them to leave Palestine. As many leaves Palestine, it's better for them. And that's why I have noticed also this pattern and few examples in Europe. I met with many Palestinians in Germany and in Europe in the past. Many of them received scholarships to come to Europe. And I believe that this is again a conspiracy theory, that there has to be a program of people wanting for young Palestinian people to leave their country, come to Europe, study here so they could stay here. They won't go back again. I truly believe that this is one of the ways you can empty the society from its, from its brains, basically, right? Because once you empty any society from its brains, then the society becomes non-functional, dysfunctional, basically. And I think this is one of the ways they're trying to do it, including from the Gaza Strip, by the way. So, I will show you some next level BS from Fox News. Look, like, this is so low level propaganda, man. This can't be. Like, this is just directed at the dummiest of the dummies in the United States. Donald J. Trump, all I want is freedom for the people. He means the Iranian people. So fight for freedom. President Trump says he wants his legacy from the strikes and his push for regime change in Iran to be about freedom for the Iranian people. Just see the comments. All I want is freedom for the people. And I say, all I want is to serve Israel. Our friend Dr. Simmons says, all I want is freedom for pedophiles. Fix it for you. Look at this guy. This is his legacy and what he will be known for. And this guy, the president you voted, the president you got. By the way, this is true. This is 51 schoolgirls dead today, 60 injured in an Israeli strike on a school in Iran. And I think this is deliberate. They wanted to kill as many schoolgirls as possible because they wanted to terrorize the children and the younger generation in Iran by telling them that this is the result if you support your government. They wanted to, like, it's so, in my opinion, it's a deliberate act of aggression against a school to kill as many schoolgirls as possible to terrorize the people in Iran. Look at this. Remember who we are fighting for in the, in the military uniform of this American soldier. There's an Epstein picture in his hat. So, absolutely, and I ride unicorns to work, yeah, fuckers. Look, this is Donald J. Trump, by the way, just a few years ago.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Our president will start a war with Iran.
So he means here Obama will start a war with Iran. I think this was in 2013 because he's a weak president and he cannot negotiate with the Iranians and he wants to be re-elected. Look how many tweets he made since 2011 about the war against Iran. In order to get elected, Barack Obama will start a war with Iran. Barack Obama will attack Iran in order to get re-elected. 2012. 2013. I predict that President Obama will at some point attack Iran in order to save face. 2013. Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled. I lied right to your face, stupid faces. So I think you guys can go and check all these comments yourself. It's quite clear where the general mood is, and I don't think there is any support for war inside the United States. And I would like to remind you also that this is the same Donald J. Trump and during the 2016 presidential campaign. And this is former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, "This is the Trump I supported, the man who called out the truth about the WMD in Iraq and declared no more foreign wars. Now, for some unknown reason, which she is indicating to the Epstein file, Trump has joined the neocons and will soon go to war against Iran with the same BS excuses." End of MAGA.
The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
We have destabilized the Middle East. We should have never been to Iraq. George W. Bush made a mistake.
So, I mean, so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said
They
there
lied.
were weapons of mass destruction. There were none. And
There was a weapon of mass destruction. They lied. There were none. And now he's lying the same lie about the nuclear weapons in
he
Iran.
knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
You know, the other day I was thinking about this video. I watched it a few days ago. You know, sometimes I also do, I rethink about my convictions, about my analysis, about whether or not I'm saying something factually correct, or maybe I'm exaggerating, or maybe I'm just being hateful against America as America, right? And I'm like, am I just being probably harsh? Am I being biased? Is it just like because I hate America? And then I try to think about it, and it's incorrect. I don't hate America. When someone like Donald J. Trump in 2016 said the things that he said now, I supported him. I supported this type of rhetoric. I support people, for example, when they promote for peaceful approach. For example, they criticize Israel's expansionist policies in the region, such as Tucker Carlson, such as Ron Paul, for example. There's so many people inside the United States whom I find like, I could basically socialize with this type of people. I could become friends with them. I could be allies with them or partners with them in politics. So it's untrue that I hate America. It's completely untrue. What I hate is this war politics. And that's why I'm wearing this hat today that says peace and salam in Arabic. That's what I hate. And this is the policy which they which destroyed my country and made me basically in asylum forever by bringing Jolani into power. And this is what Donald Trump said. He said, I put this guy in power. And this is the guy that Donald Trump put him in power. He will keep me in exile forever from my country. So how can I really, have any sympathy or empathy toward this type of people? I detest this type of policies, but I don't hate America at all. I grew up on American pop. Like I grew up on Michael Jackson, I grew up on Dr. Dre, I grew up on Eminem, I grew up on their R&B music, I grew up on MTV basically, I grew up on Hollywood. I was just like a normie guy, growing up on American culture and American movies and American music, etc. Like I could literally see myself moving to the United States living there without feeling like I have some culture shock and I have to integrate there. No, I just can just live my life as normal as possible there without any problems. So no, I don't really, I reject, let's say, that accusation that I am somehow anti-American, because I'm not. So yeah, I know what you mean by MTV, my friend, but it is what it is. Back in the day, when I was 7, 8 years old, do you think that I was doing my research about MTV and the Hollywood and all this stuff? No. So if you think that Europe is any different and European Union is any different from the United States, I have bad news for you guys. This is Kaja Kallas, the most smartest person in the EU diplomatic team. She says, the latest development across the Middle East are perilous. Iran's regime has killed thousands. Its ballistic missile and nuclear programs, along with the support of terror groups, pose a serious threat to global security. The EU has adopted strong sanctions against Iran and supported diplomatic solutions, including on the nuclear issue. I have spoken to Israel's foreign minister, Sa'ar, and other ministers in the region. The EU is also closely coordinating with Arab partners to explore diplomatic paths. Anyways, it's just BS after BS after BS, including Ursula von der Leyen, of course, which made the most crazy tweet which I have seen today. And this is like wins the craziest tweet up today. She says, following the ongoing situation in Iran, I am convening a special security colleague on Monday. For regional security and stability, it is of the utmost importance that there is no further escalation through Iran's unjustified attacks on partners in the region. Iran got attacked by the US, by Israel, using the skies, using the military installations, using the airfields of these so-called partners in the region to wage a war of aggression against Iran. And when Iran attacked the military bases which were used to attack them, this is an unjustified attack from Iran. I mean, it's a too much. Like, if I see more words about it, I would be definitely imprisoned or sanctioned by the EU for this type of Lügen, they say in German. It's a crazy level of lies, and they're posting it on social media platforms for us. And the saddest part of it is that Daddy America doesn't even see the EU as partners. Daddy America sees EU as a challenge. And they are destabilizing the European countries. They are waging a tariff war against the EU countries. They are planning on taking over and occupying the Greenland, which is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. And then when America attacks Iran, instead of coming and trying to be a little bit balanced about this, try to play some independent role for you to stay relevant, you come with statements like, oh, we support America's war against Iran. This is the message that the people receive. It's shameful, it's really. We want for the EU to play an independent role. We want for EU to play a diplomatic role. We want for the EU to try to de-escalate this and end the war. We're not for war here. But you're giving justification for the US and Israel for this war, which gives the impression many people would come and say, okay, like, then why is the EU pursuing a policy that is against their own interest? If this war develops in Iran, and you have millions of people, refugees, where do you think are they going to come? They're going to go where, basically? Where did the Iraqi refugees go? Where did the Syrian refugees go? Where did the Libyan refugees go? And those countries combined probably do not reach the same population level of Iran. If you destabilize Iran and bomb Iran and create mayhem there, where do you think the people will go? Do you think that they will say, oh, let me go to the east, let me go to Kazakhstan and Tajikistan and Turkmenistan and seek refuge there, or they will start marching to Europe. Just crazy. I don't know what they are doing. Sometimes I'm just baffled. Anyways, but we have people like Jeffrey Sachs, thankfully that he gets it correctly in this case when it comes to Palestine and when it comes to Iran. I wanted to show you this video because Jeffrey Sachs says it may be because of what's in the Epstein files, it may be blackmail, it may be corruption, but it is not about America's interests. I agree.
This has never been about nuclear weapons. This has been about Israel's regional hegemony in the Middle East. Israel wants to topple the Iranian regime, period. It has said so. This is not a mystery. This is not my claim. This is Israeli policy repeated year in, year out. The whole idea that Trump is negotiating to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, that was negotiated. Trump ripped it up. The Iranians have come back every year to say, we don't want a nuclear weapon. We want negotiations. The United States does not accept yes for an answer because it works for the government of Israel. This is the point. Why does it work for the government of Israel? It's a little hard to understand. Maybe because it's of Mike Hucklebee's parishioners. Yes. Because of people who read the Bible and say, okay, that's our foreign policy. That's possible. It may be because of what's in the Epstein files that haven't been released. It may be blackmail. It may be corruption. It may be many other things, but it is not about America's interests.
Yes,
we have no interest whatsoever in going to a war with Iran right now. Yeah, if there is such a war, it's a war because Israel has told the United States what to do. And that raises a question. Why has the United States done what Israel has told the United States to do for 30 years? And I don't just mean about Iran. I mean across the Middle East.
Oh, I'm reading the news. Some people say that Ali Khamenei has been killed. Now, Reuters Arabic says, Reuters clarification, any claims that Reuters reported the killing of Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei are false. Reuters didn't publish this information. The Mario Naufal, who of course is a propagandist for the Zionists, he says, yes, Iran's Supreme Leader is dead. I'm trying to see if there is any other news about this. Breaking, American media is confirming that Ayatollah Khamenei has been killed. But this is fake news because he's trying to source it to Reuters, and Reuters said that they never said that. I'm trying to see, guys, if there is any credible news about the possible assassination of... So the Times of Israel say, they're quoting Israeli official, Khamenei was killed in Israeli airstrike. So this is still not confirmed, by the way, right? So we have conflicting reports. Reuters denying that they claim that Khamenei has been killed. Israeli press says they have killed Khamenei. I'm trying to check if there is any other credible news outlet here which is reporting about this. There is not much yet. So, there is no, guys, any confirmation from any side about the possible assassination of Ali Khamenei. If you have any credible news about this, please post it in the live chat, right? I would like to read. I haven't seen one news outlet reporting this as a fact, except for the Israeli press, and they are quoting an Israeli official. We don't know, maybe because he was targeted today alongside Pezeshkian, but allegedly they survived. So we don't know if he was killed. Now, I will show you. Okay, Iranian spokesman says leader is safe on Press TV. So we will see. But this stream is still ongoing, and we will see by the end of it. So this is today our friend of the show, Dr. Mohammad Marandi. He was on another show, and he said, he expressed his opinion, of course, and I would like to show you.
I can hear large numbers of explosions, and I don't know what's being targeted. No one is safe. Last time round, many innocent people were murdered. As you know, the Iranians were carrying out negotiations with the United States. The Omani foreign minister traveled to the United States and said that significant progress had been made. And like right before the 12-day war, where negotiations were taking place, the United States and the Israeli regime were completely deceitful, and they launched a blitzkrieg attack against the country. So that's where things are right now. My assumption is that the Iranians are preparing for all-out war, assuming that the United States is participating in the war. But I can hear large numbers of explosions.
The question that I just had, does that change Iran's calculus? The fact that Trump came out and said he wants it's a regime change war, does that change the way Iran will respond?
Well, this shows that the United States has gone rogue, completely rogue. We see the strangulation of the Cuban people, what they've done to the Venezuelan people, and the general behavior of the United States has just become increasingly dangerous and erratic. If the United States has indeed attacked Iran, then I think it's all-out war, and Iran will fight for its survival. This is a war of choice by the United States. It's being carried out for the Epstein class, for the Israeli regime, but for Iran, it's a fight for survival. The United States will not be able to bring about regime change. It will fail. They may kill people like me. They may kill many thousands of other people, but they will fail. And the world must rise up and protest and boycott and deal with this global menace.
Professor, about my last question to you, I promised I wouldn't keep you on. I want you to be safe and make sure of that. Are you surprised we got to this point, given it looked like the negotiations showed signs of promise? Are you surprised that we're at this point right now that Iran is being bombed? Did you think that this would happen? I mean, I know you wouldn't rule it out, but are you surprised we're here now, right now?
No, personally, I'm not surprised. I've been telling people that I think that in Iran, that I think that the chances for an attack are significant, and that the chances of attacks during negotiations are significant too, taking into account what happened during the 12-day war of aggression. The United States is a completely unreliable regime. And the same is true with the Israeli regime, the entire Epstein class. We have a ceasefire in Lebanon. They murder people every day. We have a ceasefire in Gaza. They slaughter many people every day. And when it comes to Iran right now, they're murdering ordinary Iranians, violating international law. And Western media, of course, is captured by this class that rules over the West. So they will blame the victim, demonize the victim in order to justify death, destruction, and slaughter. But I have no doubt that the United States, the Trump regime will fail, the Israeli regime will fail, and Iran will strike back hard.
Professor Mohammad Marandi, please stay safe, and we're thinking of you.
So this is, guys, now reported on Axios. As I'm just take it with grain of salt. Axios is a Mossad close to Mossad, so they are Israeli outlet or close to Israel. They say Israel says Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei is dead. Iranian Supreme Leader, this is just right now as we are speaking, right? Let me just make it a little bit bigger. Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in an Israeli strike Saturday as part of massive joint military operation between US and Israel. Israel's ambassador to Washington told US officials. An Israeli official confirmed to Axios that Khamenei is dead, according to Israeli intelligence. The 86-year-old Khamenei led Iran for 35 years, making him one of the world's longest-serving authoritarian rulers. His death is a massive blow to the regime and could accelerate its collapse, which US and Israeli officials have stated as their explicit goal. Khamenei's killing sets off an immediate cessation crisis with no clear answer. Under Iran's constitution, a council of clerics is meant to select a new supreme leader, but Israel's strikes also targeted senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commanders and political leaders, leaving the regime's chain of command in disarray. Israeli officials say they assessed the Iranian Minister of Defense and the commander of the IRGC were also among those killed in targeted strikes on Saturday. Whether the IRGC moves to seize control or whether the strikes create the popular opening Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump have both called for remains unclear. Israeli officials said Israel targeted Khamenei's sons, but intelligence assessments suggest they survived the strikes. Mujtaba Khamenei, one of the supreme leader's sons, had been widely discussed as a possible successor to his father. So this is, guys, just for you to know, this is an Israeli, basically, report. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't believe it until there is a confirmation. Probably this is just a psychological operation. We don't know yet. And while I'm doing this stream, I'm also checking on if there is any people are making again fake news all the way about sourcing to Iran Foreign Minister spokesman Ayatollah Khamenei is safe and sound. So this is now the spokesperson of Iran's foreign ministry, guys. Just right now, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Ayatollah Khamenei is safe and sound. Let me check. Yeah, this is it.
First, I'd like to ask you about some of these reports that we're getting that the Ayatollah and the president of Iran were both targeted by these attacks. Can you confirm that the Ayatollah is still the leader and in power of Iran right now?
Thanks to God, they are all safe and sound.
Okay.
They're all safe and sound. And are they still communicating and running the country as we speak and determining which counterstrikes and military operations are coming from Iran at this moment?
I can assure you that the system is working because our system is very sophisticated. It is rooted in our identity, and it is based on a popular revolution. So it is not a one-man ruler. So everything is being done in accordance with our plans. Our armed forces are conducting their defensive action against this act of aggression that has been going on for the whole day.
So this is the spokesperson of Iran's foreign ministry denying the allegations that Ali Khamenei has been assassinated. Israeli press says he has been assassinated. We are still... Oh. Look at this, guys. I will show you something hilarious. Imagine my shock. So the puppet-in-chief of the CIA, Abu Muhammad al-Jolani, Syria under Abu Muhammad al-Jolani condemned Iran, not the United States or Israel, over the regional escalation, denouncing Tehran's retaliation against US bases while ignoring US-Israeli strikes. The foreign minister of Jolani, Asad al-Shibani, conveyed messages of solidarity to Saudi Arabia and Emirati officials. So, of course, Habibis, of course, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is the one of the best investments of America and Israel in the region, taking over Syria. So let's see the GCC, Dubai. Oh, Hebrew outlets. Hebrew outlets are now claiming that photos and videos of Supreme Leader Khamenei's body after strike were presented to top officials. Insane Mossad penetration. But this is just, again, again, claims after claims after claims. I apologize that I cannot really bring you like a concrete news because, again, also inside, by the way, Iran, I have texted a few people just to ask them how they're doing and if they're safe or not, and I didn't receive any response. It seems they're all offline, unfortunately, because of the internet situation. Mohammad Marandi has an internet because probably has some government connection to basically. So this is on Fox News. Again, take it with grain of salt because this is Fox News. It is known for major propaganda operations against Iran. They say that Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei is confirmed dead. Let's check. I just saw it, so I also don't know if this is of any
news for us at this hour. Trey?
Yes, Sandra, we just got this in literally 2 minutes ago, but Fox News can confirm that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead following Israeli strikes against his compound and location earlier today. A senior Israeli official confirming this news. Earlier tonight, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu describing the strikes not only against the supreme leader, but against much of the Iranian leadership.
So this is Fox News claim. Again, don't take it with a grain of salt, okay? They are quoting Israeli officials. The Iranian official denied it, and I haven't seen any confirmation about this. Let me check what's going on here. RT and Press TV not saying nothing basically about it. This is hold me. So Press TV says nothing, guys, about it. And I will continue with my coverage until we receive any news about this. I wanted to show you a video. Actually, there are two videos. One is for Owen Schroyer and one is for Charlie Kirk. And why I will tell you why I'm showing you these two videos. So Owen is very critical of Israel. He says these warmongers bring shame on our entire world. They're monsters.
Evening, guys. It is 12:50 Saturday morning, 12:50 a.m., February 28th, 2026. And Israel has just bombed Iran. It's midday in Iran on a Saturday, people going about their lives in the capital city, and Israel has just bombed them. Keep in mind, just yesterday, Israel bombed.
I don't know what's going on with the internet. It's not the internet. It seems it's from the X because my internet is very good. And while we are waiting for this video to upload, I will continue checking on the breaking news if there is any confirmation about this alleged assassination attempt or the assassination of Khamenei. Let's refresh this page. Maybe it works now. Yeah, I think it's from X, which is not downloading or uploading or whatever. Unfortunately, the video. Oh. Doesn't upload. Anyways. So he's very much critical of Israel and the United States war against Iran. Yes, he has. Owen has a good read on the situation, actually. But there was someone who also had a good reading on the situation, and he pressed Trump not to go into war against Iran in the past, and that is Charlie Kirk, which is nowadays it's becoming a little bit like gives more signals that why he was probably assassinated, because he was very influential. He was the head of the biggest conservative movement, and he was showing some patterns of anti-war sentiments, especially in the Middle East. So it seems X is broken, right? It's X that is lagging, and X is not refreshing. It's just X that is not showing us the videos. In any ways, he was very much against the war against Iran. He has also made a poll on his own personal account, basically asking the people if they would like to go to war against Iran before he was killed or assassinated. And I think if there were let's say dark forces behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk, then definitely this was the case. Definitely this was the case, that they don't want the head of the biggest conservative movement that they care about a lot, especially that you will have influence over the Christian Zionists and the evangelicals inside the United States, which is your strong popular base as Zionist Israel. You don't want somebody like him basically making anti-war statements when it comes to Iran. That is very important for them to occupy, destroy, and swallow Iran into their let's say, Pax Judaica empire in the region. Verified. Okay, not verified. Sorry. These people make seriously sometimes very, I would say, unnecessary posts on X. Like they raise your adrenaline, and then you check there is nothing that they're saying is important, basically. I just don't want to show you much of the videos of the strikes of Iran against the American bases in the Gulf countries, but there are many videos showing Iran is targeting them. Let's see if this one is going to work. I think there is something wrong in X. The videos are not uploading at all. But there is someone who reported about Tucker Carlson saying something about Iran recently. I think that's important because he is the leading force against this hysteria in the region nowadays. And I think it is worthy to highlight what one of the most influential, let's say, conservative voices in the United States say about this war. And this is, again, allegedly, because he didn't say it like personally. We didn't saw him saying it, but it is reported now in the press. Just a second, let me see. So it says conservative podcasting titan, and they mean Tucker Carlson, torched Donald Trump for his evil attack on Iran as the president's MAGA-based fractures over the Middle East war. Carlson has levied a rare criticism against the president following the U.S. military's joint attack with Israel on the Iranian regime. Absolutely disgusting and evil, Carlson said to journalist John Carroll. So he said it. It's not like some rumors. Last week, Carlson met with Trump in the Oval Office, where he reportedly urged the president against striking Iran. Well, I think this will definitely fracture the MAGA base. I think this is the end of the myth that somehow this was the peace ticket. There is no peace ticket in the United States. If you are expecting that there would be a peace president who can be elected and successfully inaugurated, meanwhile, all these structures, unelected bodies, the empire above Epstein exist, it's not going to happen. If there is a serious peace candidate, he will not even be in the discussions, in the debate. So I'm sorry to break it to you if you're an American, guys, but unless you, American people collectively, change the system, then you will not have a peace president, a president who cares about you in the United States and not about Israel. Because this is definitely, as I started this stream at the beginning, and I said, if you don't want to waste your time, this is Israel's war. This is not America's war. This is Israel's war, and they're using America in its aggression against Iran. Israel cannot carry out a prolonged war against Iran without an air bridge that could supply them with weapons, ammunition, air defenses, soldiers, and all sorts of support from the US. Without the US, Israel cannot fight Iran. That's why they need to have these lobby groups inside the United States to buy the politicians, to bribe them, to persuade them, to compromise them. Ask yourself why they're spending all this money there in your political life, basically, right? I'm again, by the way, on X. So this guy, Sammy Historian, who comes to our show and says he's a Zionist, he's sending me a comment on X, says, my condolences. He's trying to mock me that Ali Khamenei is dead. It's like, if Ali Khamenei is dead, what do you think I'm going to do? Like now, sit and cry? We are here analyzing, Habibi. This is your war against Iran, and you're using America to wage a war against Iran for your own malicious interests in the region, and not because you have some the good interest of the Iranian people at heart. So Netanyahu now claims that Khamenei is dead. Minutes later, Iran said Khamenei will no longer give a speech. It is clear, okay? Senior Israeli officials, those are all Israeli officials claiming that he's dead. I mean, imagine if he is not dead now and he appears. That would be a big blow to all these Zionist talking heads, basically wishing that Ali Khamenei is dead, basically. Imagine, like, who gives them the right to go and kill other countries' leaders? It's like, imagine if Iran killed the leader of Israel. The entire world would turn upside down. Like, we're living in such a jungle-ish, lawlessness world where the bullies with bigger guns can actually go and kill the leaders of other countries. Like, let's say, allegedly kill Khamenei, kidnap Maduro, oust Assad, kill Gaddafi, kill Saddam. Who gave them this right? What kind of world are we living in? And I hope that the Russians are taking notes, that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, and fool me 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 10 times. It becomes so boring that you go with goodwill to negotiate with the Americans and they use it as a smokescreen and opportunity to buy time so that they could prepare well and just kill you and stab you in the back. It's there is not even an honor and dignity in this type of fighting, you know, like they just come in your back and they pretend that they're talking to you. Like, how many times the Iranians engaged in negotiations with the Americans, and while they were negotiating, like during the negotiation, they bombed your country. It's just and other people also say, then what is the alternative? What could the Iranians do? What could the Russians do? They have to talk. I agree. At the end of the day, they have to talk. And they want to talk. That's the thing. The Iranians want to talk. The Russians want to talk because they don't want for this war to be prolonged and they don't want to come under attack. And that is the difference between the truth and the lie, because the lie is that it's Iran who is attacking America. But the truth is, Iranians were very much engaged in talks with the Americans, and they showed a lot of flexibility because they don't want this war, unlike what is claimed about Iran, right? As our moderator says, honor doesn't win battles anymore. Savages win wars now because they act like savages. I totally agree. By the way, guys, as we're watching this stream, if you like what I'm doing, this coverage, and this is an emergency exceptional. Today is Saturday. My wife is probably very upset at me for doing this. She's not, but you know, it's a family time, and I usually dedicate on Saturday and Sunday to be with the family. But today it is an emergency situation, and I wanted to do this at night because I wanted to collect as much information as possible before I say something about it. Like many people, I saw them going live just 2 minutes after the strike started against Iran. I wanted a little bit time to collect and understand how's the picture, so I could come and try to, you know, explain and make sense of the things in Iran and in the Middle East. So if you like this stream, or if you're liking this coverage, please hit the like button, like thumbs up as you're watching this stream or listening to this stream, and subscribe to Syriana Analysis if you are not. 40% of you watch Syriana Analysis are not subscribed. So imagine, like, if there is 10,000 views on any video, 4,000 of them are not subscribed. Like, imagine how much more subscriptions this channel could get. And believe me, as much as we grow in the number of the subscriptions, more and more important guests accept to come. This is unfortunately how the world works. If you want to have a famous, important guest on your show, sometimes they also check how many subscriptions you have. Although on this channel, we are very much committed. I'm very much committed to quality analysis and quality guests. And I respect all of you guys. Truly, I respect you. You already mentioned a few names in the chat, and I agree with a few of them. But the other few, I don't agree at all of having them on my show, because I don't believe that they will bring truly serious analysis to the show or any added value. For example, Brian Barlett is great, although sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree, but I think he's coming from a good intellectual ground. You know, some of the other names, they're commentaries more than analysis. So I want to be more like, for example, Professor Chiang. I would like to have him on the show for sure. So one last time, I'm going to go and check the breaking news. It seems X has just been destroyed now. It seems so. Let me check one more time. Tahdis. Okay. A senior Israeli official tells Reuters that Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei has been killed and his body has been found. A previous post that is not updated will be deleted. So, I mean, if he's dead now, I don't think that Iranians will declare it tonight. They will wait for, if, I'm just saying for an argument's sake, don't quote me on this, we don't know if he's dead. If he's dead, rest assured they're not going to declare it now in Iran. They will wait for tomorrow until some of the decisions are made and probably the successor is being chosen, selected, elected, however it is going on. But up until this moment, we don't have any confirmation, right? I will show you a video of a very short clip of Scott Ritter. He was on Judge Napolitano. This is what he said.
We have hit 2 children's schools. We have bombed 2 children's schools. 63 dead children, girls, little girls dead. Their mothers waiting for their daughters to come home. They sent their daughters to school on the belief that there wouldn't be a war because there was diplomacy going on, that there wouldn't be a war because Marco Rubio said he was traveling to the region on Monday. So they sent their girls to a school. The girls were in school and we bombed it. And we bombed another one. There's 100 girls buried under that rubble being dug out now. Girls that will not survive. This is the horror of war. But what I'm trying to say is, at least when I was involved in the bombing of the Amaria shelter, we did our damnedest to make sure that it was a military target. We were wrong. and it haunts you forever. What in God's name could lead us to bomb 2 girls' schools? I'm involved in this. I did this for a living. I know you don't make those mistakes.
Wow, that's strong words from him. Some people say the numbers are now 100 girls because this video is probably like a few hours ago, and the number is just increasing, unfortunately, because some of them were injured during this very brave operation against a school in Iran. So the authorities say 85 were killed 1 hour ago, by the way. Let's check again. Again, everybody is quoting, by the way, guys, senior Israeli official about the alleged assassination of Ali Khamenei. I mean, in your opinion, guys, if Ali Khamenei was assassinated, do you think that there will be a change of course inside Iran? Do you see that this will lead into regime change, a behavior change, chaos, civil war, or Iran probably will recover and elect someone else, and probably even someone who is more, what they call in the press, more radical than him, you know? Anyways, I condemn. This is the last news, guys, about the alleged assassination of Ali Khamenei, but I would like to hear your thoughts about it, because I think that would be a really big blow for Iran if this was basically a successful assassination attempt against Ali Khamenei. I mean, okay, Foreign Ministry spokesman, this is on Press TV, 30 minutes ago, says Iran's leader and president are safe. I mean, this is not me, guys. You wanted me to check Press News, Press TV, and this is the Iranian Press TV claiming that he's alive. This is at 9 p.m. Central European time. We are 9:40 now, so like around 30 minutes ago. Many Israeli sources saying Al Khamenei is dead. Reuters and Axios also reported on an Israeli assessment that his body has been found. Defense Minister Amir Nesirzadeh and IRGC Ground Forces Commander Mohammad Pakpour are confirmed dead. If Khamenei is dead, that means the decapitation strike was successful. This has profound implications. So what are the implications? This is reported by a journalist. He says, first, if Khamenei is dead, the first implication would be Article 111 of the Iranian Constitution mandates a temporary consul, the president, head of judiciary, and the guardian consul jurist to handle duties until the assembly of experts elects a new leader. Second, reports suggest the chain of command has already fractured with emergency leadership protocols currently in effect. 3. While his son Mujtaba Khamenei was a long-rumored heir, recent intelligence indicates he was excluded from a list of 3 secret successors Khamenei submitted to the assembly of experts before the strikes. 4. To prevent mass unrest, the regime is reportedly using AI-generated deepfakes and pre-recorded videos to simulate Khamenei's continued presence and maintain control. This will fool no one. So this guy is an Israeli, apparently, and he is anti-Iranian. 5. The next move will be to try to elevate Khamenei to the status of a martyr, potentially strengthening the resolve of his supporters and the axis of resistance rather than demoralizing them. Historically, the killing of top Iranian figures like Qasem Soleimani has triggered vows of harsh retaliation. Experts warn this event could provoke a massive multi-front expansion of the war, involving intensified strikes by proxy groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis. Any new supreme leader chosen by the assembly of experts, such as hardliner Ghulam Hussein Mohsen Ejei, would likely serve as a symbolic figurehead, while actual executive and military power resides with the IRGC. The chances that the regime will not so much collapse but lose influence have increased. Without a central authority to negotiate with, the conflict could descend into a prolonged chaotic vacuum similar to post-invasion Iraq or Afghanistan. Anyways, this guy is definitely parroting Zionist talking points. U.S. official confirms to Fox News that U.S. believes Khamenei and 5 to 10 top Iranian leaders killed in initial Israeli strike on compound, and they agree with Israel's intelligence assessment. A senior U.S. defense official tells me, this is to Jennifer Griffin, that the U.S. government agrees with the Israeli assessment that Ayatollah Khamenei is dead, along with 10 other top Iranian leaders who were all meeting at the compound in Tehran Saturday morning. The top IRGC commander also killed. Multiple sources indicate that the timeline for the strike had to be moved up based on intelligence and this target of opportunity. There was a deliberate decision to accelerate the timeline. That is why the US and Israel took the unusual decision to strike during the daytime to achieve the element of surprise and to target this meeting. Normally, the US military would not launch an operation like this during the day. The meeting accelerated the timeline. This was a massive, widely bold daytime attack, a senior US defense official told this journalist. It caught the senior leadership off guard a Saturday morning during Ramadan and on Shabbat in the daytime. We hit the senior leaders right out of the gate. Israeli conducted the targeted strikes. So those are the list of the people they claim they have assassinated. The IDF has released a list of Iranian figures assassinated. The Ayatollah is not listed on these images despite Israel's claims. The list includes Amir Ali Hajizadeh, commander of the IRGC Aerospace Force, Ali Shamkhani, head of the Armed Forces General Staff of Iran, as labeled in the image, Hossein Salami, deputy for the Security and Law Enforcement Affairs at the Ministry of Interior, Hassan Jalali, commander of the Air Defense Force, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of SPND, Iran's Organization of Defensive Innovation and Research, Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters, head of the Intelligence Department. So President Trump confirms to CBS that Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei has been killed. President Trump says we feel that is a correct story when asked about reports of Khamenei's death. We think is different from it is. Our friend in DD Geopolitics has some dark humor here. She says US President Donald Trump with Marco Rubio overseeing Operation Epstein's Fury. So if Khamenei I don't know, guys, if Khamenei is dead. I cannot really tell you, unfortunately, and Twitter started really lagging and not showing me new updates. And I have followed all the correct people to at least understand what is going on there. If he's dead, we will. If Khamenei is, it's not Khomeini, by the way, it's Khamenei, because on Twitter, on X, I typed K and H searching for Khamenei, and when I've typed K and H, the first result came Khomeini is dead. It's like even the American people do not know who is the supreme leader of of Iran. It's Khamenei, not Khomeini. But I will follow this case, guys, closely. If he's dead, I will cover it on Monday. Tomorrow is definitely going to be off day. Just for you before I go, so this is the last news probably I'm going to report. Arya is an Iranian, and he says, source close to Imam Khamenei's circle for publishing his works confirms that Imam Khamenei is steadfast and well commanding the field. So somebody published this: don't believe the lies of the Zionist enemy about the leader of the revolution. I assure you with confidence that the leader of the revolution is steadfast and firm, commanding the field. Pray for the victory of this powerful... So this source is just claiming that it's completely untrue. And as you guys see also, the confirmed list of dead Iranian officials has been published by the Israeli occupation forces, and they don't mention Ali Khamenei yet. Or probably they don't know if he's dead. So that's it. I don't think there will be more to be revealed soon for tomorrow. On Monday, I will try my best to host an Iranian to speak about this case, or if Professor Chiang has accepted my invitation, I will definitely update you on that. But tomorrow, definitely not going to be stream. I will take a rest. I will stay with the family. And I wish you peace, guys. Salam to Iran. Salam to all the people in the region. Let's hope that this war would come to an end very soon. Thank you so much for tuning into today's stream. I appreciate you all, guys, whether you watch this on YouTube or on Rumble. Also, special thanks to our moderator, Red Access, for being with us. And yeah, I will see you on Monday. If you like this stream, please hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe to Syriana Analysis, guys. And if you like, and only if you want, and if you can go further and support this work, you can become a patron. The link is scrolling on the screen, patreon.com/Syriana Analysis. If you don't like to use Patreon, there are different other means in the description below or in the first pinned comment. Thanks to you, this work can not only go on, but also improve and develop. And we could also have a second show during the week, like we do with Tarek, Cyril Amar on every Friday. Salam, guys.